everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am that one punk, and today I let you guys choose what this video will be. We are ranking every single segment in the VHS series. I absolutely love the VHS series, even the bad ones. I can watch it and say there's something good about them. They are my favorite bit of found footage horror ever. If you have not seen them, I would say a binge is perfect, especially during October. It's not October anymore, but you know, it's better late than never, right? And I am ranking them, of course, in a tier list because I am just right on time with all these trends. And my tier list goes as follows: perfect, pretty good, good, meh, bad, and the worst. I think that's enough explanation. Without further ado, here is the definitive ranking of every single VHS segment.
Hey, Editor Punk here. Before we get started, I want to let you know I have a special announcement at the end of this video, so please stick around if you want to hear it. It is related to my Patreon, so please stick around. Alright, thanks, bye.
Before we get started, I want to say I am not including wraparounds because most, if not all, the wraparounds in this series are just fine. They're really nothing that interesting, and they just kind of are there. Going in chronological order, the very first segment of the very first movie is Amateur Night, and boys, we already have a perfect. A group of young men decide to go out on the town and try and find some women to score with, one of them wearing glasses with a hidden camera inside, because they're terrible people. And the one with glasses seems to have a secret admirer in a kind of weird looking chick. So the group takes a couple chicks back to their hotel room, where one of them decides to fall asleep, and because they're not completely awful people, other dude decides to sleep with weird girl. And after biting one of the other dudes that she said she did not want to join, she goes on a killing spree, revealing herself to be a succubus and rips a dude dick. Yeah. She even rips a dude's dick off and throws it on the ground. It's great. And after tracking down the guy that she was originally wanting to come with, trying to give him a little bit of that, turns out he didn't like it that much. In fact, he's pretty terrified, so she spreads her wings, takes him up into the air, and kills him. It was a great way to start this series. I love this short so much. In fact, it got its own spin-off film, which I haven't seen, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about. It just kind of happened. Maybe I don't know, I'll review it at some point, I guess. But yes, it is going in the perfect tier. After an amazing start to the movie, we get an immediate crash and burn with Second Honeymoon. I hate this one. I thought that wasn't a hot take. I thought I was pretty well within my rights to hate this one, but no, everyone seems to enjoy this one. I don't get it. It's boring. Nothing happens for a good, 15 minutes, and then suddenly a dude dies, and hey, they're lesbians. I don't think I'm glossing over anything. That's basically the entire thing. I was fucking floored to find out this was directed by Ty fucking West. Yeah, you know, the guy who just directed two of the greatest horror films of the past couple years. He directed this piece of shit. Live and you learn, I guess. I'm not a fan of this one. Every time I rewatch this movie, I skip this one because it is so fucking boring. I hate it. I hate it. The worst. It's in the worst. Moving back up. I don't know what this is. Going back to a good one. Thursday the 17th. Obviously a funny title based off Friday the 13th. It is a slasher, but this one's very creative to me. A couple friends go out to the middle of nowhere to have a seeming fun retreat until one girl reveals that she's been here before and there is a murderer here. And not just any murderer, it's a murderer that can only be seen via the video camera, which is a really interesting way to hide a villain and a really good justification to keep the camera rolling. It appears as a glitch, and it is just, wow, it's so good. I love rewatching this one so much. It is one of the most creative twists on slasher horror I've ever seen. I love it. It does have some faults though. It runs just a tiny bit too long. The characters are annoying. And for as creative a setup as it is, I don't think it went far enough with it to really put it in the upper echelon of shorts. With all those faults, it's still going in good. Next, we have The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger. That's a very long and stupid title. Hey, we have another pretty alright short. It starts with a woman video chatting her boyfriend, talking about when they're gonna come see her again and all this, and well, you know how it is. And we learn that our title character Emily has a weird growth in her arm that she doesn't know the origin of, and then boom, her house is haunted. Those two things will connect in a minute, trust me. She keeps documenting herself being in this haunting apartment and eventually tries to dig into her arm to get whatever the fuck is in there out, and her boyfriend's like, hey, probably a bad idea. But after one night of the haunting getting a little too crazy, Emily gets knocked unconscious, and plot twist, the boyfriend was just across the hall, digs a baby thing out of her back, has a conversation with something, and then we cut to their next conversation, and it seems like she remembers none of it. And the guy even has a second girlfriend. What a man. When I first watched this, I didn't get it at all. I thought it was cool, I thought it was well done, but I did not understand a single fucking thing. Going to the Wikipedia, it turns out the little ghost children are aliens. Yep. And they're using Emily and other girl to fertilize egg alien human hybrids, and this dude is helping them for some reason. Good. It goes in good. I liked it. The ending it's a little too convoluted, but it's well done, so it gets in good. And our final segment on the first film is 10/31/98, made by Radio Silence, who you may know for revitalizing the Scream franchise, or if you're old like me, you remember them from the YouTube channel Mad Chat and Rob. I really like this short. I think it's a fun setup of having a camera in the dude's monkey costume, going to a haunted house, going to the wrong haunted house. It's a real haunted house with a cult and everything, and they almost die, and then they get in the car and leave, and then the girl's there, and then she's not, and then boom, train comes and kills them. I'm probably missing a few details, but I just realized how long this video is going to be if I meticulously describe all these shorts. I really like this one. I think the effects are super well done, especially for seemingly what I would think to be a low budget. But again, these guys made some pretty amazing YouTube videos, so I imagine when they get a bit of a bigger budget, they can do a lot. This one also has a funny alternate ending where instead of the train crashing into them and they all die, they just all get out and leave and talk about how much fun they had. I was gonna put it in good, but then I found that alternative ending, it goes in pretty good. It's so funny. It's just so good. Moving on to my personal favorite of the series, and I'll say objectively the best, VHS 2. And this one starts out with Phase 1 clinical trials directed by Adam Wingard, someone who will partake in this series a couple of times and who has gone on to make some bad and good movies. Yeah. This one involves a man getting a eye implant that turns out to be robotic and is recording his entire thing. What am I saying? It records his life, that way the doctors can take a look at what he's seeing and experiencing afterwards, and he turns out to be seeing some ghost. He is being haunted by a little girl and a dad, seemingly, I guess, I don't know. And then a chick shows up and is like, hey, I have a hearing aid and I hear the ghost, you see the ghost, we should team up. But then they die after they fuck. That's important. They die after they fuck, because they're cool. I really like the creativity of having a literal first-person view the entire short, and there's a tiny little story woven through that he's getting haunted by a family he killed in a drunk driving accident, which I think is really cool. But again, this short doesn't really offer too much to justify going anywhere other than good. I like it. I don't like it that much. It's a solid start to the movie. Next we have A Ride in the Park, which is a more comical entry in the series. Just some dude going on a normal bike ride stops to help who he thinks is a hurt person. Turns out to be a zombie. He turns into a zombie, and because he had a GoPro on, we now get to follow the life of this zombie. It is a super fun little short. There really isn't too much to dive into except the end when he gets a call from his girlfriend and seemingly remembers who he is and decides to kill himself. It's a fun little short in a time where I was so tired of zombies. It gave me something kind of fresh and new to look at, and it's nice that it's not taking itself too seriously. It's a fun little thing. It's going in pretty good. The next two are legendary, if you know anything about VHS. Spoilers, they're both going in the perfect category. Up next we have Safe Haven, where we follow a documentary crew filming a well-known cult in somewhere in Asia. I forget the country, I'll put it here, whatever. And as the documentary crew keeps finding more things about this cult, it gets crazier and crazier and crazier, till eventually the cult's prophecies are fulfilled and a giant demon comes out of one of the women, and then it just all goes really crazy. People are killing each other and committing suicide, and then one guy escapes, but the demon shows up and calls him Papa, and then the dude laughs because he's going insane. Again, I'm doing a bad job at explaining these, you just have to go watch it. This one is so fucking good. It's really well acted, really well written. The further it goes into chaos, the better it gets. I love rewatching this one so fucking much. It's perfectly paced, perfectly shot, perfectly edited, everything. Perfect here. Up next we have my personal favorite segment in the entire series, Slumber Party Alien Abduction. This topic is one I'll probably make a video on in the future, but I am fucking terrified of aliens. Going all the way back to when I was about 9 or 10 and finding the entirety of the McPherson tape on YouTube and being told it was completely real, yeah, that'll fuck you up. Of course, going into this movie for the first time, not knowing anything, and seeing this, yeah. I do love the justification for the camera that it's a mount on the dog that is just following them around. It's great. The aliens look fucking incredible. They are terrifying in this short. It even fakes you out thinking the police are coming, and then boom, it's a UFO, here come more aliens. It's just so, it's so good. It's so good at building dread and tension and fear. I love it so fucking much. Go watch it. Perfect here. Top of perfect. It trumps everything. Up next, we have debatably the worst film in the entire series, VHS Viral. This was a real step down in quality in the series. It's just bad. We'll start with Dante the Great. Bad. It's in bad. It's only staying out the worst because it has an interesting concept. The concept being a magician getting a haunted cloak that makes him a great magician, but also drives him crazy and makes him a murderer. Cool idea. But they go way too far to where so it's framed as a documentary, right? That's also a cool idea. But then at the end of the movie, it's just filmed like a movie. The entire time I was watching the short, at the end, I was just wondering who the fuck was filming this. Did this documentary crew have 50 cameras and are everywhere at once to be able to film all this crazy shit? It's bad. It's not worth watching. Just, eh. Up next, we have Parallel Monsters, which is fine. Meh. A dude is building a portal to an alternate dimension and it works, so they decide, important detail, the other dimension version of him was also working on this portal, so they decide to switch dimensions, and it turns out the other dimension dude is like a demon or something, and he has a weird demon penis, and he tries to kill the other dude's wife, I think, and the other dude is scared of the demon penises, which, yeah, fair. So he goes back, and then his own wife kills him because she thinks he's the other dude, and it's, again, an interesting concept that's done fairly well, but it was just so hard to care. Then we have Bone Storm. You know, I did a tier list of all these segments a couple years ago and put it in a Facebook group I'm in, and I put Bone Storm in good. Going back and watching it, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. This is bad. This is so bad. The characters are so fucking annoying, and the editing makes it so fucking hard to understand what is happening. Like, seriously, the climax of this short, I was having so much trouble figuring out where anyone was, what anyone was doing, what the fuck was going on. I had no idea what was happening towards the end of this short. It was so bad. I did not give a single fuck about these characters. I did not care at all where the story went. I just wanted it to be done. I watched it at 2x speed because I just wanted to fucking finish it. It's going in the worst. It's bad. After VHS Viral, the franchise laid dormant for a pretty long time until Shudder resurrected it with VHS 94. And after the dumpster fire that was VHS Viral, this series really had nowhere else to go but up. So let's see where it ended up. Our first segment was... I forgot the name. Our first segment was Storm Drain, possibly the most popular segment to come out of this movie. It follows a reporter reporting on this new local legend called the Rat Man. And she and a cameraman go into the storm drain to figure out if the Rat Man is real or an urban legend. And yeah, he's real. He's very real and terrifying and pukes on you. And if you live, you're the chosen one or something. I don't know. Creature design is amazing, and just everything about it is really fucking good. I love watching this so much. It's so good. Again, the only thing that really holds it back is it drags on just a tiny bit too long, and I kind of could have gone without the ending, but it is what it is. It's going in pretty good. Up next we have The Empty Wake. That's a short I don't see many people talk about, but I really fucking loved it. A woman is in charge of a funeral service, and no one shows up. Sad. And as the short goes on, we build so much tension as to what is going to happen, and we learn that the man the funeral is for actually did some sort of cult suicide and is brought back to life and terrorizes her. It's good. It's so good. I love it so much. I remember not liking it that much when I first saw the movie, but going back and watching it, it's perfect. It goes in perfect. It's so good. I love it so much. The next one is The Subject, and I remember when this movie first dropped, nobody could shut the fuck up about The Subject. They said it was the best segment in VHS history. They loved it. I'm gonna give you a hot take. It's going in the worst. I fucking hate this short. It's way too long. It doesn't do enough that's interesting. It's not scary. It's just... I don't like it. I appreciate it doing something different and going with this very sci-fi cyberpunk vibe. It just doesn't work for me. The rule I've noticed with this series is the bigger it tries to go, the worse it ends up being. And this is a very good example of that. This is one of the worst segments in the series. That's a hot take, I know, but I don't like it. It's going in the worst. But we end on a good note with our last segment, Terror. In this one we follow a radical conservative group who are planning to bomb a government building with a vampire. Got you hooked already, didn't I? Yes, through experimentation they find out, instead of just burning in the sunlight like normal vampires, these ones fucking explode. But of course things go wrong, the vampire gets loose, and holy shit, that vampire design is amazing. You know what, I did originally put it in pretty good. You're gonna see that in the final image, because I'm recording this after I do all that, but it's going in perfect. Fuck you. I'm overruling. It's perfect. I love it. Up next is VHS 99, and I'm not a fan of this one. After I liked VHS 94 so much, I thought they were on the right track, but apparently not. In fact, I watched this when it dropped on Halloween, and I watched it with my girlfriend at the time, and it was so bad she said I ruined Halloween for her. If that's not a glowing endorsement. So let's get through this one quick, because most of them I don't really have that much to say. Up first we have Shredding, which the only good thing I'll say about it is it captures that era of early 2000s, late 90s skate videos very accurately. It does that super well, but everything after that is just kind of... I didn't care about these characters, and they kind of died just out of nowhere. Like, I don't know, the zombie band didn't really do much for me, and it was just boring most of all. Just nothing. It's really hard to explain why bad thing bad, but this one is just, I don't know. I don't like it, but it had interesting ideas and a very nailed aesthetic, so I'll give it meh. And again, going in the meh category, we have Suicide Bid. It's one that starts out fairly well, but is really let down by the ending. We have a girl who commits a suicide bid for a sorority. I should probably say it again. Commit suicide. Nope, you two don't like that. But she only casts one bid for a sorority, and that sorority decides to haze her in one of the worst fucking ways I've ever seen by burying her alive and just leaving her there. Glad I didn't go to college. And during the night it rains, and she meets a local legend that the girls think are fake, which I can't remember the name of, even though I just fucking watched it. I do not remember the name of the thing. But she comes out and she's like, ah, and then she's like, yeah, I can help you get revenge. And she's like, oh, cool, let's do that. So now all the girls are buried alive, and then it ends. Yeah, it just starts getting interesting, and then it just cuts out. I was really disappointed. Nah. Ozzy's Dungeon. It's the worst of the entire series. It's bad. It's so fucking bad. I don't understand how it made it bad. Why? My love for Steve Noog can only take me so far. This is so bad. We start with an interesting concept of like one of those like old Double Dare, Legends of the Hidden Temple type shows that goes horribly wrong and the host doesn't care. But then we get the family of the girl who was injured kidnapping the host, and then they force him to go back to the studio where actually an ancient demon or something was in the back of the show and can grant one wish. And apparently the girl's wish was to kill everybody, I guess? I don't fucking know. I didn't care. It's so bad. It's the worst. It's the worst. I have no energy to explain to you why. It's the worst. Next up we have the Gawkers. And this is the only one going in good. I really did like the aesthetic throughout most of this, and the twist of the neighbor being Medusa is one I did not see coming. It was crazy. It's simple and to the point, and I quite liked it. It's going in good. Also the little stop motions throughout the movie, that's attributed to this one, and I like those stop motions a lot. The stop motions are going in perfect. They're going in more than perfect, because they captured the stop motions I watched as a kid on YouTube perfectly. Yep. And we end on a bad one, To Hell and Back. Once again, the rule proves itself true. The bigger we go with these segments, the worse they are. In this one, a couple of filmmakers are filming a witch ritual, and they get sent to hell on accident, and it is the most boring looking hell I've ever seen. They run into this chick who's crazy and is like, oh, we can get you out, and then they get out and they die anyway. It's just boring. It's bad. It's bad. The only thing saving it is that chick from hell in there. She does a really good job. That's the only thing keeping it out of the worst. It's just bad. And on to the most recent entry in the series. It only came out a month ago, VHS 85. And once again, we are taking a step in the right direction, as I fucking love this one. Starts off with No Wake, a home video for, I believe, they're college students going on a vacation, and they go into a lake they're not supposed to, end up getting killed, but something in the lake keeps them alive after getting shot. It's a very interesting concept, and when I first watched it, I didn't really like how it ended, but it actually continues in another segment, which I haven't seen in this series before, so it definitely bumped it up for me. It's going in pretty good. I like it a lot. It's, again, a simple concept, done really well. Up next we have God of Death, and this one is based off a real Mexican earthquake tragedy that I did not know about until my best friend's fiance said, hey, that happened. And I was like, that's crazy. But a news cameraman gets rescued during an earthquake, and on their way to the exit they find out that all of this was in part of a ritual to bring back the Aztec god of death, who ends up coming back and killing all of the rescue workers and the cameraman. My favorite part of this is when it turns to the cameraman and he looks like the fucking Joker. I laughed so hard, even though I know it wasn't intentional, but it's really funny. This one is one of those ones, you say it a lot in found footage, but in this one especially, I was like, why are you still filming? The camera's just slowing you down. You don't need it. And there was no real justification for it. So it's a solid concept with an okay execution. Still going good. Next we have Techno God, spelled like this, because they're cool. Don't like this one. Don't like it at all. It's boring. It's so boring. It also kind of breaks the whole rule of it being set in 1985 because she mentions iPhones, and I don't know if you know this, they weren't around in 1985.
Hey, editor Kyle again. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. This was I'm just wrong. iPhones are what the goggles are called. I just was not fucking paying attention. My bad.
And she calls the god of technology, and he comes and he's like, hey, quit talking shit. And she's like, make me. And then he rips her legs off and tears her face apart. And that's it. I don't like it. The only thing that keeps it out of the worst is the main actress's acting is it was good. So it goes just in bad. Didn't like it, didn't care for it. It's the only dud in this one, I'd say. Up next we have Ambrosia. That's a fun word to say, Ambrosia. In this short, we see what seems to be a normal home video of a quintessential 1980s family get-together. But what got me was at one point, the main character walks outside and the kids have a water gun. And I was like, hey, in the first segment, they had a water gun. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? And then you see the RV from the first segment and you're like, holy shit, how is this gonna come back around? That's crazy. And it turns out this family is a cult family who, instead of celebrating birthdays and stuff like that, thinks you become a real adult when you kill people. We've all been there. My lord, it was a great way to bring things back around. And it was the first time in this entire series I've seen purposeful reincorporation between two segments. It was really cool to see. And eventually the police raid the home, and it turns out the teens from the first segment filled the water gun with the water from the lake, so our main character will never be able to die, just like they were. It was just perfect. Loved it so much. The only thing holding it back, again, it runs a tad too long to get to the twist, and a good portion of it I just wasn't interested by. I really wasn't really pulled in until she showed the tape, and the acting is a little, it gets a little up and down. So it's going good. And our final stop on our VHS journey is Dreamkill. I fucking love this one. This seems to break my rule of going bigger means getting worse, which sucks because I want that to be the rule, but this one really proves me wrong. In this one, we start out seeing a first-person point of view of a murder that was crazy to watch. And then we see police investigate the same house where the detective says, we got a tape in last week of this exact house, of this exact murder. That already is such an interesting concept. That is so cool. And it turns out the one mailing these tapes is a goth teenager who... My brain melted. The one sending these tapes is a goth teenager who, it turns out, is dreaming of these murders, putting them onto tape and sending them to the police in hopes of being able to catch the murderer. And it turns out the murderer is his dad, who shoots the detective, murders another person, murders a whole bunch of people in the police building, and then the son's like, haha, I've seen this before, I'm still alive. And he's like, we'll see about that, and then he dies. I'm doing terrible at explaining these, but I love this one so much. It is one of the more creative ones I've seen out of this series. It's so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's going in perfect. What a good one to end on. And that's it. That is the entire VHS series, not including wraparounds. All the wraparounds can go in bad or meh. I don't care. They're not that interesting. And the 94 didn't even have a wraparound. Neither did 99, unless you count the stop motion. I'm not talking about them. Who cares? So this is my final ranking, barring Terror being up here and not in pretty good. It should be imperfect. And I think I'm pretty happy with this list. If you disagree, please let me know. I'm sure I'll get plenty of comments about my thoughts on the subject. I don't like it, and you will not change my mind. But once again, thank you guys for watching. This was a fun video to do. I wanted to do it for quite a while. I fucking love this series, so any chance to talk about it is really good. And another 1,000 thank yous for all the support I've been getting over these past couple of months. We are up to almost 120 subscribers, which is crazy because at the start of October I only had like 60. The growth on this channel has been insane. Thank you guys so much. Oh, and that special announcement I had. So if you look into my Patreon, you can see that the $10 sellout tier has a condition where you can pick the next video I make. But in order to drive some traffic down there and get some support rolling in, I'm gonna make you a deal. The first 5 people to sign up for my Patreon under any tier will get to choose the next 5 videos I make. Is this a bad idea? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Of course, I do reserve the right to say no to any of your ideas, but I will work with you 100% to try and make something that you personally want to see. If you're interested in that, my Patreon is in the description. Starts at $1. If you can spare it, anything helps. I also have our Discord server down below. I need mods. As this community grows, I know I'm going to need mods because I want to run events and viewings and stuff like that in the server, so I need plenty of mods to take care of whatever amount of people we have in there. So if you would like to be a mod, please join the server, send me a DM, and we'll get to talking and see how things go. And if you just want to join the Discord server to talk to me, talk to fellow fans, please do. I really want to build a community here. That is the main reason I'm making YouTube videos, to have a community. So let's do that. Also have my Instagram down there in case you want to talk to me one-on-one for whatever reason. Again, probably a bad idea to suggest that, but hey, you know, it's there. That's all. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment down below, hit subscribe, because I will definitely have more content coming your way. I've been That One Punk. Peace.